Hello, hello, everybody. All right, it looks like we are live. Awesome, fantastic. Great to see you guys here. I'm playing with this again tonight until I get the setup that makes me happy, which may be never. Let me know that you can see and hear me okay. I'm still fussing with the lighting, and I found this cool picture of a black cat over here. And and somebody came out and asked me, where was the lion? You guys remember? No, oh, yeah, it's flipped for whatever reason. The lion over here that was in my old office setup. I had him on a different wall. Now he hangs on a wall where he's not on camera. But tonight he wanted to be on camera. So there you go. I have named him Pono. He stares straight at you. So for those of you who are distracted, just feel free to stare right at Pono. He's got the way the eyes are painted. They are staring straight forward and they kind of follow you around the room. And I call him Pono from the Hawaiian phrase for right with nature. And that is Pono. So hello, everybody. It's Elaine, the Animal Reiki Lady, and welcome to SoulPet. This is the YouTube channel that is dedicated to helping people whose animals have crossed to the other side. We are here to support you. We have all been through the grief that you may be experiencing. And if you are in the thick of that grief, we deal with those topics. And if you're on the other side of that grief, if you've kind of crossed the bridge a little bit with the grief and you're ready to start making connections with your animal companions on the other side, we talk about all the hairy fairy stuff too. So we have lots of discussion and nothing is off topic. You guys can ask questions of any kind. If you look through the comments, you'll see that Pat has some really good comments already going, some good questions already going. And you can feel free to come here and share your grief like Z is doing this evening. Every single one of us is sending you a virtual hug, Z. If I could wrap you in my arms right now, I certainly would. But that's what this video is for. So it is Monday night, and for those of you catching this on the replay, you can always scroll through. We usually don't get into the meat of the topic until a good 5 minutes in. I like to say hello to everybody. I like to do that little introduction. And tonight we're going to be talking about shame. This topic came up, and I'm inspired by different topics. Every single week, something different comes up for me. This is our 56th episode, and I can't even believe this because I used to think, what am I going to talk about? Every week, if I'm going to do this weekly, what is it we're going to talk about? But every single week, the animals come through and they find a way to bring up the topic. This particular week, I had someone reach out to me who said that she was ashamed. She was ashamed because she broke down at her workplace and began crying uncontrollably. And she was ashamed of her grief and her behavior and the way that her coworkers made her feel. One person made her feel really was wonderful, but some others were not quite as understanding. So we're going to talk about shame tonight. It's a word we haven't really brought up before. We've brought up guilt. We have brought up anger. We have brought up grief, but we haven't really talked about this shame and the silent shame, something that we bear in silence, which is why I want this channel. You guys tell anybody and everybody who would like to just watch these videos, because we talk about it all to help normalize this grief, to help us work through the grief. And because I know our animal companions are cheering for us on the other side, helping us to just to get through this, to row our little boat downstream instead of upstream, and to be able to open our hearts again and to be able to live our life to the fullest, because they certainly don't want anything less for us than to live our absolute best life. Okay, so let's say hello to everybody real quick. Let me just go scroll up to the top. Pat, how you doing? Pat, my knight in shining armor, I got to tell you. After the comments that I made last week, Pat sent me a very nice comment about the people who were they crossed the line, the couple of guys, twice in 1 week. A couple of guys that crossed the line with propositions. So I do appreciate your kind words, and I wanted to let you know that. And like I appreciate all of you guys' support. I get so many emails as well as comments, and I just want to let you know that even though I can't always, I used to be able to reply to each and every one, even though I can't do that anymore due to the volume of them. I see them, I read them, and I just want to thank you guys so much. Pat, we are going to get to those questions. The secondary life, you're going to have to explain that a little bit more for me, or maybe somebody can research what that means while we're talking. And we're going to talk about animals in physical form, let's see. I didn't see this one question. How do our pets come through to you when you connect? Should I interpret what I think he is communicating? Let's talk. We will talk about that. I'm going to add that to my little list here. We'll put it to the end, but I am going to, how do I connect and how do you interpret what I say? How do I connect? Okay, I just made myself a quick note at the end of my notes. So we'll try to get to that tonight. I think that we should have time to do that. So it has been an amazing week. It's been an exhausting week. I will be frankly quite honest with you guys. I am flat out. I'm wiped out. I'm exhausted. For those of you who were in the class, I have a Friday morning meeting, and now I just started a Saturday morning meeting. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a minute. And our first Saturday morning meeting was this past Saturday, but my granddaughter was with me. I was babysitting solo 4 days, solo with an 18-month-old. Well, let me tell you, I forgot how draining that can be, because you have to be on 24/7. You cannot, I mean, you can sleep, but if the baby cries, then you must be up. And you certainly, when it's during waking hours, you can't even turn your head for a minute, not 1 minute. I turned my back for a minute, and she had emptied her whole, all the diapers onto the floor into this giant pile. So it's been an experience, and I'm glad to be back home and taking a nice deep breath. But I'm frankly, quite frankly, exhausted. And my hat goes off to every parent out there who's got a toddler, whether you're a single parent or even partnered parents. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And I will think of you and send you Reiki. Okay, so what else? I talked about the lion. So Pono, he's right there. I want to talk about February 27th. This coming Thursday, I posted the announcement they used to call it community. Why do we have to keep messing with all these things? Now it says posts. So look on the link that says posts. If you are an official channel member, so if you've signed up to be a member of the channel, our monthly Zoom meetings. So we meet once a month in face-to-face live Zoom meetings, so that we can talk with each other and get to know each other. When you read some of these comments, especially for those of you who may be watching this the very first time, when you read some of the comments, you'll see that people are familiar with each other. And we have been on a couple different Zoom calls, but now for this year, I'm dedicated to doing it once a month going forward. We are going to have these once a month Zoom calls. So it's going to be, I mix up the days and times, so that people who have different work schedules and different family obligations, different things can all have a chance to attend. This one is Thursday, not November. I was about to say November. Thursday, February 27th, getting ready to turn the corner into spring. Thursday, February 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I pick Eastern time. I'm in Central time, but I pick Eastern because it's something that people are familiar with. So New York time, Miami time, 8 o'clock. And then you can just look up your own time zones from there. So that is for channel members. If you want to become a channel member, I include the link on the description of the channel. I will also include it in the comments of this video after it's all over. That's February 27th. On Saturday, this past Saturday, so we're doing some housekeeping, another minute or two. On this past Saturday, the 22nd, 222, which I just love that angel number, and that's the day we started class. I started the Animal Mystic Masterclass. And it's really just a psychic development class for those of us who are drawn to animals and feel that we do have that connection with our animal companions on the other side, or we want to develop that skill. It is something that everybody can do. You guys know me, the corporate dropout. I didn't do any of this until my Lucy crossed. And then when Lucy crossed, I realized that we still had a connection, and it's just taken off from there. So I want to show everybody, I don't care. You can say, I don't have the gift. I can't figure it out. I'm not doing it. I don't understand. And you're crazy. I want to show you that everybody has this ability. We are all connected. Every single one of us is connected, and every animal and every soul is communicating with each other all the time. It's we humans who tend to overthink it. So I have this class. We meet every Saturday through March, and we meet in the mornings. And if you missed the first class, it's recorded, and I'd be happy to send you a recording. But if I wouldn't wait more than this next Saturday. If you want to jump in, now's the time, and we'll meet every Saturday for March. Okay, so that takes care of that one. And then last announcement, last but not least, March 15th. March 15th, I'm doing a live thing. So this is also going to be once a month. I have developed a relationship with a local crystal and metaphysical shop. And once a month on a Saturday, we are going to do all different trainings of different kinds. This is going to be Reiki for pet owners, pet parents, Reiki for pet parents. It's so interesting how the old vocabulary still rolls off my tongue. For pet guardians and pet parents, for companions of our animals, I'm going to be doing a Reiki training. So to show people how to be better able to support their own animal companions. So if you're in the Midwest, it's going to be in the Milwaukee area. It's on March 15th. I haven't posted anything more about that yet, but tick your calendar if you are going to be in this area. Okay, let's do some more hellos. I can't wait to get your questions, Pat. Kali, good to see you. Cheryl, Sharon, who else do we got? I'm just going to say hello and then I'll go back. Kathy, good to see you. Z, awesome to see you. Robbie, thank you for hanging out with us. And Jody, hello. It takes 10 minutes for me to get rolling. But once we get started, we get started. So you're not late. And Jesse, good to see you as well. Jesse, let's see. All day long, I focus on them to see if they will come in my dreams, and they don't. Okay. End up dreaming the most bland things, even though in my mind, they are all I think about. All right. So Jesse, I'm going to make a little note for you. So people who are members of the channel usually get their questions answered first. And that's how we're going to continue this. I like to go with they're supporting this channel and helping us bring all these messages to other people. But that's a really interesting question. What happens? Why aren't they showing up? And are you doing something wrong? Is it not real? And I think that I have the answer for that. But again, making myself a note because I get distracted and I'll skip right over it and forget all about it. Why aren't they showing up? And right now, I'll just let you know they are. They are showing up. Dreams are kind of hard. Dreams are kind of tricky, but we'll talk about that. Okay, let's see who else we got here. Yeah, Sharon. I know one of these days Sharon's going to have the hugest breakthrough. And the dreaming thing is, dreaming takes work. We have had a session about dreaming before on this, and we'll have a session for those of you in the class on Saturday. We're going to do a dream not this coming Saturday, but one of the sessions is about dream incubation. It's about how to dream. Your dreams are your dreams, and they're not random. There are some random components to the way that we dream, but dreams are not random, and we learn how to use our dreams as tools because they're our dreams. We're not taught how to do this. Nobody teaches us this stuff. We have all these things. Dreams just are what? Our brain just firing at night while we're asleep? So much more. So if I can get to the dream thing tonight, I will. Otherwise, there's never too many topics about this. I could always talk about dreams again on a Monday night. Let's see. I also don't remember dreams. I've only had one, maybe two with Gary. Okay, which is fine. Sometimes they don't come through in the dream, and I think I told you guys that it's been a couple weeks now that I had a very distressing, I shouldn't say disturbing. I had a very distressing dream about Lucy, which usually does not happen for me. I don't generally have nightmares. I occasionally have weird wacko dreams. My brain really does like to go crazy in the evening. But the dream about Lucy was so distressing that I wrote down all the details and I remember it vividly. And so sometimes what they're coming through, sometimes they come through to us as themselves in the dream. Other times they come through with information that we need. They are our cheerleaders. They are our support system. They're our guardian angels. They're so much more than just an animal companion who has crossed to the Rainbow Bridge and is waiting for us to show up at the Rainbow Bridge. Way more than that. If I don't get to the dream thing tonight, then I will do a whole session. I'll do another session on dreams to see if we can't get us all actively dreaming either about our animal companions or the messages and signs that can come through during dreams. I really do want to talk about shame tonight, and I have once again, although I was tired, I did get a chance to organize my notes. We'll see how much I can stick to that. Sometimes we get off topic, but I want to start with Pat's questions because they're really, really interesting. Elaine, can you address tonight whether our pets on the other side will present themselves in the same physical form as here on Earth? So I think this goes back to last week when I visualized Logan as a squirrel. If Logan incarnated into a squirrel, will he meet me as a squirrel? Yes and no. It depends. I used to have a college instructor who said once a semester to say it depends if you don't know the answer. But for this one, I think that I do know the answer. It depends on what you would like them or what you have agreed for them to meet as. So here's what I think about this. I recently did a session for a beautiful pit bull, and in my meditation, I could see so clearly the woman who I was doing the reading for, like warrior princess kind of woman, just absolutely stunningly beautiful with her. And it wasn't even a pit bull. I can't even describe what the doggy looked like. So powerful, so strong, like a combination of a lion and a dog and I don't, it was a very fictional, but not fictional, because I don't think that there is any such thing. If we can think it up, then it is real somewhere in the universe. And that's what I visualize. So, Pat, we're going to see our animal companions again for certain in a physical form. And won't you be shocked when Logan is a human, or Logan is something else that you don't expect, or Logan is a mystical animal, or just a squirrel, or all of them. There are no rules. When our soul, we're the ones that are stuck with rules. We are stuck with rules because we came here to a physical planet to have a physical being and a physical body to experience all the physicality, all the wonderful tastes, the smells, even the icky ones. We came here to feel, we came here to learn, we came here to explore, we came here to have adventures, we came here to cry and to laugh and to hug and to nurture, and we wanted all of that. And so we set up all these rules and all these parameters so that we could experience this particular life. When our soul transitions out of this little physical suit that we're in and we transition to the other side, there are no limits, limitless. Even now, I know I have not convinced you guys yet just how limitless you are. You are beyond. The power that you have within you is far beyond anything you have even imagined. When you imagine think about, I'd love to ask this question. This question was asked by one of the people who I love to watch on a podcast, Greg Braden. I've mentioned his name before, Gregg, Greg Braden. And he was doing he recorded one of his live sessions. Like I had a bunch of people get together for a live session. And let's just say there was 500 people in the room. And he asked the question, how many of you feel that you have a superpower, that you were born with some power that you have yet to tap into? And every single person raised their hand. So I would like to, all of you guys, raise your hand. I would love to know if you feel that there is some power, even if you can't name it, you can't identify, you have no idea what it is. Is there some superpower that you think that you have that you haven't tapped into yet? And then if the answer is yes, now's the time to start working with your animal companion on the other side. Phrase that means nothing. They're right here with us in this energetic space that's not empty. The thing that we think is air all around us is full of everything. Now's the time to start working with them to try and identify what your superpower is. And that's a little sneak peek into what we are going to be talking about on Saturday for those of you who are in the Saturday class. So no rules, no holds barred. Pat, you can be the squirrel and Logan can be the person. There, you can do whatever you want when we get to the other side. Now, there's no way for me to prove this until we get to the other side. And when we do, I'm going to give you the biggest bear hug in the whole wide world. And maybe I'll be a bear for all I know. But that's what I think. It's what I feel, and my experience and all the meditations I've done with every single animal has shown me many incarnations of themselves. They are not trapped in any, they're free to do whatever they want. More than that, they can explore anything and everything. And when we talk about drop-in souls, I haven't really explored this too much, but that drop-in soul is where if you are looking into the eyes of a horse and you look into the eyes of the horse and you're certain that you see your cat, reflecting back to you but in the eyes of a horse. That's what we call drop-in, where an animal willingly, happily allows another animal to look through their eyes so that they can gaze at you with physical eyes as opposed to spiritual, energetic eyes. And I think that we can do that too, but I don't remember where I was going with that, so I got off topic. What is a secondary life? I'm not 100% sure what that means. Let me scroll down and see if you might have posted something more about that. I've shocked myself already, but I always know there's more yet to discover. Yeah, Sherry, for sure. I've been doing this now for 10 years, 12 years, since 11 years. 11 years, and I still I can't wait to learn more. I can't wait to learn more, and I can't wait to step more and more into my power. Okay, back to these questions. So I'm not sure what the secondary life is. If you give me some more hints about that, I'll try to answer the question. How do our pets come through to you when you connect? When trying to connect with Logan, should I interpret what I think he is communicating? It's a combination of things. That's also one of the reasons why I like to teach people how to do this for themselves, because it is like using a translator or a mediator. And I love being that person. I love being able to connect. I love that I can connect. I love that animals are the ones that I get to connect with. I can connect with people on the other side, but it doesn't happen very often. Hang on. But when I do a reading, meaning that I go into a meditation, I connect with an animal companion, and then I share that information back to their human companion. And I like to ask for a piece of evidence, something that shows or proves or validates, that's a better word, something that validates that the animal I'm connecting with is your animal companion. Then if there's any questions you want answered, I ask those questions. I do not always get a direct answer. And I always ask for just whatever information I'm supposed to share. I just want you to tell me. And then I practice automatic writing, which is also what we need to do another session in automatic writing, I think. Automatic writing, I will sit down with my notebook and my beautiful magical Bic pen, and I write down everything that comes into my mind. When I read that back to you, I read it verbatim, so I don't filter. I read everything that came through, including everything that came through in my physical environment, every sound, every smell, every taste, anything at all that I happen to be noticing, a change in the weather, whatever it is, I write everything down and I give it all back to you. And then it does become your work interpreting some of the information. Last week, I think it was for Potato, where I mentioned that Potato had a message and I didn't understand what it meant. But if you look in the comments, you'll see that Potato's human said, makes total sense. It makes total sense to me. So you do have to make some, and you do have to figure out sometimes what the information is that I'm sharing with you, because I don't have a frame of reference for it. But I trust that what they're telling me is what they want me to, is what they want you to know. And then sometimes I call them Easter eggs. Sometimes the clue or the understanding doesn't come through for a couple of weeks. And all of a sudden something happens and you go, oh, right. That's Logan told me that back when, and I didn't understand what it meant, but now I do. So you just have to be very flexible with it. Communication, animal communication is not what a lot of animal communicators think that it is. I mean, it's not like having a conversation. And remember also that, and then we're gonna move on because I see how much time I'm taking up. Remember also that animals have a completely different perspective, and the life that they led with you was led from a different perspective. You may get a view from your cat, what it looked like to be on top of the refrigerator. I got this from my own Jack when I was observing. I've used this story many times. I was observing the most beautiful sunset. One thing that I truly can't wait to get back to Colorado for is the sunrises and sunsets. This was a sunrise, beautiful sunrise. And I looked down at Jack, who had his nose buried in the grass. And I'm like, dude, you got to look up and look at this beautiful sun. I mean, all the colors, all the pinks, all the golds, all the yellows, so amazingly beautiful. And when I looked down at Jack, he was looking at me directly in the face. And I knew instantly. It was like I didn't hear words. It wasn't like little doggy speak, but I knew instantly what he was telling me. It came through as a thought in my mind that was, Mom, get your nose down here and smell this grass. You have no idea what you're missing. This grass smells amazing. You don't know who just peed here. It smells wonderful. So I always also say when you're receiving information from your animal companion, to try to also interpret it from their perspective, because they had a completely different view of life than we do. Okay, let me scroll down and see if we got anything more about that secondary life. I put an AI answer to secondary life. I don't see it. Like, you put it in a comment or you looked it up as? Okay, so I still don't see anything, but it could just be me trying to scroll through these too fast. You keep hoping, Sharon. I gotcha. I keep hoping the worst is behind me. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm falling out of line of conversation here. So talk amongst yourselves. I don't mind that, by the way. You don't ever have to apologize for supporting each other. You don't ever have to apologize for mentioning each other, for holding each other. For you, chat is that's what the chat's there for. It's not just for me. It's there for you guys as well. So please do whatever you need to. Anna, it's good to see you. Do animals talk on the other side? Pat, all my soul searching crosses all your influences. It's all one. It is all one. And Pat, it's true. I mean, I think that we have shifted the way that we study spirituality now. I think back to, I have a friend, gosh, I haven't seen her in ages. Have not seen her in ages. Who was on the circuit. She traveled the circuit with Joe Dispenza, with Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, and maybe it was Joe Dispenza. There was anyway, it was in the 1990s when there was a lecture circuit of spirituality, and the shift between then and now is huge. We have turned a corner in terms of our ability to understand spirituality and metaphysics, and understanding now that even if we don't know what our power is, that we've got power, that we've got something, and there's more going on here than meets the eye. So yeah, it does all fall together, Pat. Do they talk on the other side? They can do anything they want on the other side, and including have a voice. I have not personally in my meditations heard an animal speak with a voice. But I haven't also asked for that. So that might be something for me to play with a little bit. Please tell me how to turn my name green. Oh, Pat, you turn your name green by becoming a channel member. So a channel member means you have to sign up, and there's a small, very small monthly fee that goes along with that. And there's 3 different levels of membership for this channel. There's like a basic, and then like it's still a small amount. I try to keep it super affordable. It's only meant to help support the channel and to keep us growing. Because now that I can, you may have noticed, some of you may or may not have noticed, when you go back and look at the videos once the lives are over, now they get ads. They put an ad, and that's just the size of the channel now. That's the way that it goes. But I did get them to make sure that they're turned off during the lives. It's only afterwards. Please scroll up. Okay. Scroll up. You guys, all right, hang tight. Scroll up. That would be cool if our animals were talking to each other. Okay, so I'm scrolling up. Tell me, like, where I have a conflict on Thursday. I'm so sorry, Z. I know that it'll be another time. Well, I do them all different times. Scrolling up. Oh, secondary life is an alternative life you might have lived if you took a different path in this life. Okay. Now let me get back to the original question. An alternative life if you took a different path in this life. And the original question was, half of everybody. We're down to like only 9 viewers now, so we'll see what happens. Sorry about that, guys. Yep. Okay. Yeah, it happens. Technology, low-tech woman, high-tech world. Okay. Where were we? Somebody refresh my memory. Oh, secondary lives. It's all possible. There again, no holds barred. And these are it's the multiverse theory, where there are multiple universes, and it all depends on the shift, and it depends on the decisions that we make in this particular life. But you could really, like, you'll send your mind spinning if you think about it. If the multiverse is actual, if that's a real thing, and when it's usually the way that it's taught is that it would have to be a major decision. So deciding whether or not to brush your teeth in the morning is not going to cause you to veer off into a different life path. Deciding where you're going to go to college, or if you're going to go to college, deciding who you're going to marry, deciding which job to take, any major life decisions are where we have a tendency to veer off. And I personally have experienced something, maybe not something similar, but and I think I might have shared this with somebody in the chat at one point, where I was in a vehicle, and I was certain that we were toast. And in the end, nothing happened. Like, it was weird. Nothing happened when everybody around all of us should have been history. Nothing happened. And it makes me question that particular incident before I began studying all this, made me question, did a part of me like break off and actually experience death? That's what did that happen in another version of my life? And I'm left here thinking this. But there's really no way to know that. There are past life regressions and future life regressions. There are practitioners who try to integrate all lives back into one. So if you think that you've split off too many times, but I can't speak to it intelligently enough. I haven't studied it enough to really understand if that happens. But if you've ever felt that happen, it's very possible. Like if you've ever thought, I really feel like if I had made this decision, I can only imagine where I would be, but I can't imagine where I would be. So I think that's very possible, but I don't have any validation or even anything to share with you to prove it one way or the other. But I also believe that I've used the example of the folded fan of paper before, that even past lives, future lives, present lives, it's all compressed, and we just happen to be living in one sliver of it, and we can learn how to jump. I posted 2 weeks ago, I think, the link to quantum jumping, so how you can get from place to place. But it's again, I don't know enough to speak to it, enough to tell you what to do if you wanted to find out if it was true. The other thing, though, this is the last piece about this, and then we're going to move on to shame. The last piece about that multiple life thing, and do you veer off into a different life, is that the universe of which you are a part. So I'm going to use the word God just for convenience. I'm not being preachy or religious, but I will give a shout out to the nuns. Got to mention the nuns at least once a video. So you have God, the universe, source, the creator, whatever that thing is that created everything, who became aware. And when it became aware, decided that it wanted to create all kinds of things. It needed to understand its own awareness. It needed to understand its own consciousness. And so it created everything. And its power is infinite. It's why I don't believe in different levels. Like you have to go to the 5th dimension and the 6th dimension and the 7th dimension, because you are an extension of that creator. That creator said, boom, we are going to make you Judy. You are Judy, and Judy, you're going to have, and it's me, and I'm going to put you down there as Judy so that I can feel what it feels like to be Judy. That's why no person on this earth, there's nothing on this earth that is duplicated. Nothing can be duplicated. But that same power that created everything has the ability to continue to create anything and everything, any possible thing. It's why I believe that fictional characters, let's say animals, let's say a unicorn. Why I believe unicorns are real? Because we thought of them. Somewhere a unicorn is real because we thought of it. We brought it to life. Somewhere there's a giant flying dog. What is the name of that? I always think of that giant flying dog that flies through the sky and a boy rides on his back. I don't even think he's supposed to be a dog, but that's what he looks like to me. All of those things are alive somewhere. They're alive somewhere because we felt them, we created them. So there's life somewhere. And so don't worry about figuring it out. Maybe that's the message. Don't worry about figuring it out because you have so much more to come. And if our animal companions on the other side of life can help our physical life here, which is really dense sometimes, if they can help us make choices and decisions that in the long run improve the quality of our current life and this existence, then when we get to the other side, we'll be able to look back and say, oh yeah, Elaine, you know what, Pat? In fact, if your higher self is up there somewhere, how about giving me a download so that I can get an answer to that question for physical Pat, who's here in this particular world. So, or whoever asked that question, I don't know. But all right, that's all the metaphysics we're going to talk about this evening. Am I still breaking up? I hope not. So if you stray off your path, the universe will set you straight eventually. Yeah, because you are the universe. You are the universe. I have had these conversations with the universe. I started to watch. I didn't get through it today. I didn't have time. Interview with Greg Braden and Nassim Harriman. He is the quantum physicist who is trying to come up with the mathematics to show from a scientific point of view everything that's but again, the universe has gone, I created math. So you can try and figure it out if you want. But math is not the total answer, but it's a really cool, he explores all that. He explores how we are connected and how the universe will eventually set us straight because it's us. It's us setting ourselves straight. Okay, enough metaphysics for this evening. We're talking to people who are grieving the loss of their animal companion. And am I still breaking up? The luck dragon, the never-ending story. That's right. I feel the Temu version of the universe too. Well, Temu, what? Where all the products are $1? It's like the virtual dollar store. That's what I think of it when I think of Temu, the virtual dollar store. Refresh your screens. Okay. Let's talk about shame. So this I really want to talk about this because the person who needs to see this really needs to see it. Talked about being ashamed at work because of the grief that she felt and because she was embarrassed. That was the other word, shame and embarrassed. Ashamed and embarrassed because she became emotional at work, uncontrollably emotional at work, was asked to leave, not permanently, but was asked to leave, told to go home, which our workplaces, boy, I've got to restart that little, I was doing pretty good for a while on LinkedIn, posting threads about how to be more compassionate at work with pet loss. But so this is what I want to say about that. Shame thrives in silence. When we feel ashamed, when we feel embarrassed, we don't talk about it to anybody. We hold it close to our chest. We hold it deep inside, and it rots us from the inside out. It makes us feel horrible. We don't know what to do. We feel as if we don't have a place to turn, that people don't understand, especially if you've had someone in your experience who did not understand and offered no empathy, the kind of empathy that we need. Because here's why it happens. It happens because we're grieving a pet. I'm trying to put the right word to this. We're grieving a pet more than we would a human, frequently. And I know you guys are going to comment about this. My own voice. Oh, okay. I'm still reading all the comments, but I will come back to them if I can. Our animal companions are often the closest companion that we have in our entire lives, even when we have families. It's sometimes our animal companions. They're there for us always. They always have been. They always will be. And it's a deep, deep loss. And then culturally and socially, we are not taught to grieve. We shouldn't grieve our animals. That it's just an animal. We shouldn't grieve our animals the way that we grieve people. And then we feel guilty on top of all that, because I feel guilty for feeling more sad about the passing of my cat than I did about the passing of my grandmother. And there's no defining. Grief is so personal. We talk about this so much. Grief is so personal, and that our culture makes us feel this way is a sad thing. So we feel that then this is the other thing. The person who reached out to me used a great word. When she was told to go home because she was too emotional, she felt dismissed, that her feelings were minimalized, that she was just being an annoyance, being in the way. She felt dismissed. That's the exact word she used. So not only was she ashamed and embarrassed about what happened because her emotions bubbled right up to the top, but she was made to feel dismissed and minimalized. And that's the last thing we want to do for anybody in grief. And I suspect that this is not the only community like this. And in my classes, we talk about this all the time, that we're not the only group doing this. There are groups of all kinds, metaphysical groups, crystal lovers, essential oils, metaphysics, actual quantum physics. There's so many people out here talking about these things that we are raising the vibration in general. And that's what I want to be able to do, is help this person in particular, as well as anybody who has ever felt ashamed or embarrassed or dismissed, that there is a space for you. And there are many spaces for you. You don't ever have to feel this again. You can feel it here. Pat, welcome, girl. Awesome. Look at that. Now your name's going to be in green. Welcome. Everybody give a high five to Pat. Sorry, it flashes on my screen. Like I get this big thing across my screen that says, welcome, Pat. Woohoo. So that's very cool. And for anybody who's ever felt dismissed, shamed, embarrassed, that there's this group, SoulPet. It's the sole reason that we're here. And there are so many other groups that I put different resources here and there and everywhere, and I can always add more. You can go to in-person groups. There are local groups all the time. There are veterinarians that have lists of local groups. If you have an EAP at your workplace, an employee assistance plan at your workplace, they will also offer counseling for grief support for pet loss, grief support for animal companions that have crossed to the other side. So we fear being dismissed or judged. We fear being seen as overly emotional. That was the other thing. So we're forced to hide our grief. We are forced to hide our grief, and it eats us from the inside out. And then some self-blame. If there's self-blame on top of all of that, second guessing the decisions that we made, the things that we did or didn't do for our animals' care, all of that combined just puts us under this emotional toll. It's this heavy lead blanket of guilt and grief and shame and all the denser emotions. All of those, someday I'm going to have to do this. I'll have to get a whiteboard. There's a scale of emotions. And when we are down, buried under those dark, dense emotions, that's when we can't receive signs. And it's not because our animal doesn't want to or isn't trying to. It's because we are so deep in our own grief that we can't feel, hear, see any of the signs that are coming through. So hopefully with channels like this and communities like this and support like this and virtual hugs that we give everybody every week, we can start to raise those vibrations a little higher and help you to change those feelings into compassion. That's what I like to do. I like to think of how sad for the person who thinks that this is being overly emotional, or that a dog was just a dog, or that a cat was just a cat. And won't it change someday when they find their animal companion? And you guys know that I had a prior boss. That's exactly what happened. And she now has a SoulPet dog, and everything changed. Everything changed when they understand what that love is and what that love really feels like. So for that particular boss, she will never have an employee again who she does not empathize with when it comes to animals. So that's why it happens. And then what's the repercussions are that we feel isolated. We feel that nobody understands us. And then our mental health, our emotional health, and then our physical health, because we're giving ourselves a stressor, an intense stress. So then we have all of that. So here's the truth. This is what I want to tell you. I wrote this down. I want to read it. And I have one more thought about it too. Your love not was real. Your love is real. Your grief is real. Your pet's life mattered. Your animal companion's life mattered. That's the important message. Don't give a hoot about what anybody else thinks or feels. This is about you and your animal companion. That shame, just join in this little group, put a little question in the comments. Any of us will reach out to you and answer your questions with support and love and caring and empathy and compassion. And then it really does help to turn things on their head. Like, wow, how sad for you. How sad for thinking about like a boss who would send you home. How sad that you don't have a companion in your life that you would feel this much love for, as I felt for my cat or my dog. And it does kind of flip things on its head. So know that your love is real. Your grief is real. Your pet's life mattered. Your healing matters. Your healing matters to me. If I've never met you and you're just receiving this message 10 years from now, this is February 2025. If it is February 2035, when I'd be in my 70s, know that your pet's, your animal companion's life mattered and matters still. And you do. Your healing matters to me more than that's why I just want everybody to feel the healing, so that when you feel the healing, you can feel the lightness return and you can start to enjoy life again, because your animal companion who is on the other side, it's the last thing they want. The last thing they want is to cause you unbearable grief and to cause you shame. And now on the other side, they don't feel those emotions. So they are sending so much love. That's why I know that everybody can not only work through the grief, but start to receive the signs and start to receive the dreams, because our animal companions are working on our behalf. They are also extensions of the universe. They were in our life before, they were in our life in the physical, and now they're in our life again from the non-physical. And they are doing everything in their power to help lift us up. Why? Because we were meant to enjoy this life. They came here for a reason. We talk about this in many videos, and I won't go too far into it. We talk about this in many videos, that they came here not just to be our partners, but to see what we have to experience, to see the life that we have to live, so that when they do get back to the other side, they are able to help us even more. And that you will find yourself so uplifted when we realize that, Jack, Lucy, and Winston have been jumping on the bed almost every night for the past couple of weeks. Ever since I just put it out there. I put it out there and said, I miss you guys. Like, I miss you physically. I physically miss you guys. I feel them jump on the bed every single night. It's wonderful. And that's what they want us to feel, that so that we can feel uplifted and we can live a full, enjoyable life, that we can go out there and do the things that we are meant to do, discover our power. Don't hold ourselves back from the thing that we're holding ourselves back from. You guys know the saying, there's not a single person on their deathbed who said, gee, I wish I would have spent more time at the office. No, do the things that you want to do. And our animal companions want to be right with you. The person who I saw the visual of her as like this beautiful warrior woman with her dog next to her, he also showed me that he was able to fly now. He had a heart condition, so she couldn't travel because he couldn't fly. And now he gave me a visual that he can be with her on every single flight, and they can go wherever she wants to go, and he'll be right there with her. So yeah. All right. Let's see what else I have to say about that. I see the comments scrolling by. Let me just go back and check a little bit. They would have had to cut me from the army, right? Okay. So I see we're getting, some people really suck. I think, I think that there are people who just don't know. They just don't know any better. And until they have a dog or a cat or another animal in their life, they're not going to know any better. And that's okay too, because maybe they're here to teach us. Maybe they're here to help us wake up. Maybe they're here to help us figure it out. And how are we going to figure it out if we aren't faced with the problem in the first place? All right, I'm going to scroll through these really quickly. When people said, "Oh, Pockets looks like he's got some age on him," I said, "Right, so do you." That's good. I know. My husband says about Gypsy, he says it fairly frequently. He says, "Boy, she's getting awful gray." And all I want to say is, yeah, have you looked in the mirror? So yes, so very true, very true. Okay, I'm just gonna. Megan Devine, grief psychologist, says all grief is valid. No one gets to define the importance of that love. Perfect, Donna. Nobody gets to define the importance of the love that you felt for whatever it is. No, nobody gets to say. Only you get to say. Nobody else gets to say that. And that's why we should offer more resources in our workplace in particular. I'm telling you, if I could convince every employer to offer some kind of compassionate leave for animal companions, I'd find a way to do it. I talk about it a lot. I still have connections in my HR world, but not as much as before. So let's see. How do we heal the shame of pet loss? Healing the shame of pet loss. Number one, normalizing grief. So just like you guys have said over there, that, okay, grief, we all feel it for something. We've all felt some type of grief, some type of sadness. Grieving is natural. It's part of who we are. It's part of our whole emotional system. We all sometimes wish that it wasn't, but it's there. It's grief, and it's a reflection of the depth of the love that we held for our animal companion. So it is grief for an animal companion needs to be normalized. It just needs to, we just need to start recognizing that. And with all the beautiful animal companions that sharing our world, they're also opening doors for us too. I know it. And then talk about your grief, remove some of the shame. I think part of when this person reached out to me, part of the healing came from even admitting that she was ashamed, saying that she felt embarrassed, that in front of her coworkers she was asked to leave, and that, I think, when she put it to words, like when the words came out of her mouth, she realized what you guys have realized in the comments, that how dare you say that to me? No, I'll get myself. I've got things under control or whatever, but I think that it helped shift something for her by saying the words out loud. So groups like this, even if it's not SoulPet, if you can find a group somewhere, a local group that you can meet with in person, that's a great way to go. If you can meet in person with people, we like to talk about some metaphysical things here too. So that's always why we have a little extra fun in these conversations. But there are many support groups. And the other person who I like to recommend a lot is Dr. Katie Lawler. Dr. Katie Lawler. She is a grief psychologist specifically dedicated to pet loss. And I've posted some of her things before in the comments. She supports two veterinarians who have left their veterinary practice in order to focus on grief support for animal companions. And I can't remember who they are, but off the top of my head, it doesn't come to me. But Dr. Katie Lawler, the pet loss psychologist. That's what her tag is on Instagram, but you can find her all over. She's on Instagram and has a website, and I will try to post her information too. So wherever you can find to openly express your feelings instead of keeping them bottled up, there are people who are not just willing to listen, but who will understand and want to listen. And then, addressing the guilt and the self-blame. Guilt and self-blame. I will never stop saying this. You made the best decision that you could make at that point in time. With what you had and what you do, and whatever resources you had available to you. Somebody once reached out to me to say, it was a cat. I lost my kitty cat. Interesting that I've got cats here this evening. I lost my cat because I could not afford the veterinary care. And that made me post things about veterinarians who will do things for those who cannot afford. But you made the best decision possible at that moment in time with your animal companion's best interests at heart, with what you had available to you. You made the best possible decision. There is nobody in this group or any other group who meets to support each other who will judge you for the decisions you made. We all second guess. I do this. This is my life. And I second guess the decision that I made with Jack, even though I know he has told me many, 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 many times. I second guessed for a long time the decision that I made with assisting Jack in his end of life. So know that we have all experienced something for which we second guessed ourselves. You will not ever be judged. In this group, I promise you will not ever be judged. You won't be judged. And then honor your pet's life. This is one of the beautiful ways when you are feeling ashamed, embarrassed, and there's human companions in your life who are not supporting you, then leave the humans be and stick with the animals. Stick with the animals. Make yourself a little ritual. Go out into the woods and talk with them. When no one's around, talk to the animals, talk to the birds, talk to the squirrels. Just be with animals and let them help to start soothe your soul. Because when some of the people in your life, as Sharon so eloquently put, when the people suck, turn to the animals. Turn to the animals, and then find a way to honor your animal companion's life in some way. I talk about rituals and memorials. You can do some kind of ritual with candles. I love to do candle rituals. You can do rituals with their picture, rituals with if you've got a little bit of their fur, or you can simply do something that pays it forward. So let's say that you feel that you didn't make the best decision when you're second guessing yourself and you're going, I wish I would have done something differently. Then go to your local shelter and volunteer to walk a dog, or do something that will pay it forward. And that can be the ritual that you do to help you release that. And sometimes just affirming to yourself. I like this little affirmation. I really like saying this. I honor my grief. I honor it. I honor this grief as a testament to the love that I felt for my animal companion. So as much as I love my animal companion, I now recognize my grief. I thank it for coming to me. I honor it because it reflects the depth of my love for my animal companion. My animal companion's life mattered, my grief matters, and my healing matters. And you repeat those things to yourself every single day. You say it to yourself every single day until it becomes second nature to you. that I honor my grief. It reflects the beautiful depth of love I had for my animal companion. My pet's life mattered. My healing matters. It's just a simple affirmation that will help you. Okay, what are we at? We are just about at an hour. I'm going to check the comments again real quick. There is a saying, where you see sorrow, there you find a holy place. Anna, I love it. I absolutely love it. You find a holy place there too. Hugs and kisses all the time. Hug my pillow now instead. And it's sad. It can be sad, Z. I totally get it. But I use surrogates all the time in my practice. I have one right here. I'm just going to give it to you. This is one of this is one of my surrogate kitty cats. Hello, everybody. So when I'm working with a kitty cat and they're not physically present with me, either I'm doing a distance Reiki session or they are on the other side of life, and I'm connecting by working with a surrogate. I use a surrogate all the time. I have surrogate dogs too. So hugging your pillow, while it might bring tears, I hope that sometimes it brings a smile, because your beautiful animal companion, that beautiful, beautiful doggy, Pockets, is sliding right in there and wants to be hugged the way that you're hugging that pillow. A friend of mine wrote, when you realize that some holes are not meant to be filled, it's when you awaken and see the beauty that can grow around it. Oh, that's beautiful too. You guys are awesome tonight with these. I love all these. These are all great. Can you tell me the name of those oracle cards? Was it something like Messages from the Rainbow Bridge? That's what it was. I think, was it Pat? I think Pat is the one who brought it up in the last week's comments. Messages from the Rainbow Bridge. That was the name of the cards. It's ones that answer specific questions. And that's what we're going to close with tonight. I have my oracle cards here. But oracle cards, especially if you're not getting messages in dreams, oracle cards are a really good way to get messages from our animal companions. For those of you who are watching just for that little piece of dream work, I will share that with you. We'll talk about oracle cards in a minute. Pockets absolutely wants you to be happy. Thank you, Sherry. Go walk the dogs at the shelter. No, right? Not only would they not mind, they will be so happy, because every time a dog gets walked at a shelter, you're helping them take one step closer to finding their forever home. It's a beautiful. I walked dogs for years. Now I'm back in Wisconsin. I've got to find my place again. The Humane Animal Welfare Society, I think that's the name of it, Haws. I have to get myself back there. But on this Friday, I get to meet with the Wildlife in Need Center and start working with some of the wild animals who are being rehabbed to be released back into the wild. I wanted to sponsor some adoptions at a shelter. Yep, that's another one. Sponsoring adoptions is a really good way to do it. If you can't, so if going to a shelter hurts your heart, if going to a shelter, you're fearful that you'll become a foster fail, if it's just not something that's within your ability to do, then sponsoring an animal is a beautiful thing. And sponsoring a pet is a beautiful thing, but there's also places that allow you to sponsor wildlife. For example, in Colorado, the beautiful place that I absolutely love is the TWAS, the Wild Animal Sanctuary, right? The Wild Animal Sanctuary. It's in Colorado, and it is a massive sanctuary that rescues lions, tigers, all types of animals, from abandoned zoos, from roadside zoos, takes them all in and gives them shelter in large area habitats. There's like 10,000 acres down in southern Colorado, and I want to say it's only like 1,000 acres up near the Denver area. But the animals have huge habitats, so they're not, for many of them, they're not even aware that they're fenced in or caged in. They've got so much acreage to roam in. Bears, they get actual caves. And then you can sponsor an animal. That was the whole point of that, was that you can sponsor a wild animal if you want to also. Did anyone else say, and bears, oh my, the bears. See, when I hear bears, I hear Chicago Bears. The cards will give you answers to common questions. Thank you, Pat, that you have with your pet. Like the Tennessee Elephant Sanctuary too. Yeah, there's plenty of them. I just like to make sure that I sponsor the ones that I know get the best care. I do not want to sponsor a little zoo that keeps the animals enclosed I can't do that part, but I can. Well, I'm a founding member for the one in Colorado, so I got to go down and drive through. You don't get to do more than drive through the 10,000 acres that was down in southern Colorado to see the most amazing animals, the most amazing animals. Okay, let's do a little card pull. The cards will make you feel you're speaking with your pet. I'm going to get those cards, Pat. I am getting those cards because I just love those. I love using oracle cards, and I'll tell you how what we're going to do a card pull tonight. I was prompted. I just went through and I pulled like 10 cards out. Oracle cards, unlike for those of you who may not be familiar and who may be questioning, are we going to have like some kind of tarot reading? No, no, no. Oracle cards are simply cards. They don't predict the future. They nothing like that. They are to receive messages of hope and love and healing and anything that you may be looking for from your animal companion. When so Pat asked the question earlier, how do I get the information from animals? And then does everybody have to interpret it? Yes. So there's some interpretation required. But one of the ways that I like to add to readings is by taking an oracle card, and we don't necessarily ask a question, but I allow my intuition, my higher self, my inner knowing, who's already got some answers that I'm not physically aware of. I reach out into the beautiful field of infinite intelligence that floats all around me, and I can already feel there's a card right now. I ask for a card, and I just know that the message associated with this oracle card is going to be one that the person who I'm talking to needs to hear. So for you guys right now, this card is something that I'm aware of, something that my intuition is aware of, that you need to hear. And that I'm human. So I'm human. When I receive messages from animals, I may misinterpret. I may not say, there may be, a little dog on, no, I said this. And I just might not have, my little brain might not have interpreted it right. So these oracle cards are a great way to receive a beautiful message of hope and love and healing. So this card is interesting. I'm going to look it up. The High Priestess, Harnessing Mystic Power. And I'll tell you what I think about that. I think that this has something to do with the mystics class, which I was prompted to start this past Saturday. And bringing out that power, that superpower that you think that you were born with, that you don't know what it is, or you've never tapped into something that you know that you were born here. There's something more. There's something more. You've said it since there's got to be something more. That is what you're meant to find out. And the way that you figure that out is through quietness. To go silent, sit in your closet, go outside, go somewhere where you're alone and no one's going to interrupt you. Do not take your phone, or if you do take your phone, turn it off. Just go someplace where it's peaceful and quiet. You can focus on your breath. Go into the silence. Be nice and silent and quiet and wait for the answers to come. It's there. Next week, maybe we'll talk about dreams and automatic writing, because the answers are there when we quiet our mind and listen. And when you have got an animal companion on the other side of life who is working on your behalf, they will give you the information you're looking for, the answers you're looking for. So that was my quick interpretation of the High Priestess card. But most of the Oracle decks come with a little book. And I love to just give what my heart is saying when I see a card like that. But I also like to see the person who wrote the book, what they had in mind when they created a card called the High Priestess, Harness Your Mystic Power card. And this particular deck was written by Kyle Gray, who I really, really like. If you guys are at all into any kind of angel work, Kyle Gray is your man. High Priestess, where are you? Little High Priest. I can't. This particular book is not organized in alphabetical order. H. Okay, here we go. High Priestess. Harnessing your mystic power. Align with the light and focus on all things positive. The High Priestess is the physical embodiment of the divine feminine, a goddess in human form. She has many names that in different times and space. Oh, she's fierce, powerful, and disciplined, much like the visual that I had of the person I did a reading for earlier this week. The high priestess is in charge of spiritual and religious orders, the voice of authority, guidance from the gods. In this deck, she is joined by a black cat representing an Egyptian goddess who protects her from lower energies. She stands strong in her glory and power. You are a mystic with a capacity to connect with energies that go beyond the human senses. Within you is a force of magic that is directed by your will. There is an opportunity for you to rise up through time. It requires dedication. It requires discipline. Let yourself be guided. If you're unable to figure out what your power is, you must trust your intuition and discernment to focus on that which will bring you happiness for everyone involved. Okay. So when you receive this card, it is meant for you to check in with your intuition. Okay. So that was our message today for everybody from the animals on the other side. They have directed us that it is time to step into our mystic powers. Okay. Let's see. A mushroom. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys go through that. I cannot give medical advice on this channel. It would be problematic for me, even though I have some opinions about nutrition, but I can direct you to veterinarians who do. I love, can't think of his name off the top of my head. I'll post it. There is a natural holistic veterinarian on YouTube who I really like to follow, who likes to give lots of, if you're interested in holistic remedies, he likes to suggest those things. He's a retired veterinarian. And then depending on where you live, I know veterinarians in your area that offer holistic care, but I personally cannot suggest any of those things for you guys. So I will let you talk about that amongst yourselves. You are our high priestess. Thank you. I don't know. Well, it's possible, right? In a past life that I was a high priestess. That just made me so uncomfortable. Isn't that odd? Can you hear it in my voice? To think about that, but maybe that's part of what I need to step into is to recognize that there are powers. And if I step into my power, perhaps it will also encourage others to step into their power. All right, my friends. I'm glad you related to it, Sharon. Okay. That's all I got for you guys this evening. We are well over an hour now, and that's it. So if any questions come up this week, don't hesitate to post them. I love to see, you can post them like in the comments. I'm going to try to get, if you posted comments between last week and this week, I guarantee you that I lost 4 days because I was not on the computer the past 4 days. There's no way that you can, that I can anyway be a grandma and be a full-time caregiver for my little granddaughter while being on the computer. Thank you. Please give Gypsy some pats for me. I most certainly will. My sweet girl, Gypsy. She's my baby. We're going to have to start getting her on some of these videos. She likes to sit out there with my husband because he's eating dinner and she's a foodie. So, okay, my friends, have a beautiful week. I will see you all again next week. For those of you who I will see on Saturday, I look forward to it. For those of you who I will see on Thursday, I look forward to it. Pat, that means you now on Thursday. So check the post section and it will give you the Zoom link for Thursday's Zoom live stream. Otherwise, have a beautiful week. Have a beautiful weekend. Until next time, may animals light your way. Take care, everybody.